Good morning, Jan.
Michael, good morning.
Good to see you
That's
again.
a, that's a very long time ago.
Yes, yes, it is.
And I almost had to cancel for the third time.
Oh.
Yeah, it's 3 p.m. over here,
hmm
and this is the first useful thing that I'm doing today.
Oh my goodness.
No, the day started very, very badly. Badly, no, not that bad.
Mm.
But when I woke up, my son said, "Papa, I missed my bus to go to school."
Oh.
So usually, my wife is on a trip to the UK, so I say,
Mm.
"Okay, let's make progress." Usually, if that happens, my wife says, "Oh, you have to bring him to school, or I will bring him to school by car." So I say, "How would you solve that?" Yeah, perhaps there is another bus. I say, "Go and look up." Half an hour later, there was the next bus. I say, "Okay, you take the next bus." Say, "Okay,
Hey.
problem solved." 1 hour after that, when he should be at school, he called me, "Papa, I'm at a connection point halfway, and the next bus is not coming."
Oh my.
So
Oh.
okay, went there by car, drove him to the school. I said, "It's not that bad because my wife is coming back today by plane, and it's near to the airport, and I had to pick her up at 12:30 anyway,
hmm
so it would be 2 hours wait." I said, "Okay, no problem." And then I got a message from my wife, "Plane is delayed."
Oh my.
So in the end, by the time I should be coming back to have this, she was still not. She had still not taken off. So I said, "Okay."
Hmm.
My daughter is around by accident here, so I sent my daughter and I came back.
So it's just a day worth of problem solving.
Boah, that happens. That
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, it
But
does.
at least now I know there is another bus and he knows how to take it.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. I really like how you involved him in solving the problem. It's like, well, how would you solve it? Maybe there's
He's
another bus.
in 1 week time he's getting 18. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's yeah, yeah. Pretty soon everything's going to be his problem, and it's just like, nah, do your thing.
Mm, 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 mm. No, but I think next week on, if he will be too late, he will say, "Papa, can I have the keys of the car?"
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
he has his driving license already, but he's not allowed to drive alone until he has 18.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
So from 18 onwards.
yeah. So then he would just be at school, and you wouldn't have a car, and your wife would be
Yeah.
flying in, and so if she gets stuck, you don't have a way to go pick
No,
her
but
up.
my wife is generally staying at home. She's not
Mhm.
tra- she's traveling just 1 week now, but that's exceptional. So in general, it's her who picks me up at the airport.
Yeah,
So I'm the one who's.
yeah.
How are things going at your side?
Going pretty good. I just had a chance to see Tim Berners-Lee speak at local university, Southern Methodist University, SMU, here in Dallas. Yeah, and Tim Berners-Lee came in and told us about how the internet started, and then kind of what's gone wrong and how he's working
Hmm?
to course correct. So it's pretty cool. Um,
Amazing that after so many years, he's still thinking about how to improve it.
yeah, yeah, indeed.
Hmm?
And it's amazing that our industry is so young that he's still around to
Hmm.
to make those kind of contributions. But I do want to welcome, hello, Eating 555. Welcome
Hello,
to
hello, hello.
welcome to the channel. So this is where we get together and talk about historical modeling and immutable runtimes and try to make the world a better place by making it
Yeah,
immutable.
Making it immutable,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So what's been your journey so far?
um, currently I'm a student at a university for master degree.
Mm-hmm.
Lately I was studying some topics on concurrency. Of course, there's many studies on the lock solutions, but
Mm-hmm.
recently I found that lock is very heavy on the server side. I mean, if you run a program on multiple servers, lock is pretty much undoable. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe some other solutions like immutable architecture is something I can pursue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
excellent. Yeah, and have you done any study there on CRDTs?
Haven't.
Yeah, that's kind of the general area of trying to solve those kinds of concurrency and consistency problems without taking locks. So um, yeah, it's a really cool field of study, and of course, my work kind of fits into to that area because actually all I'm proposing is a general purpose CRDT. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
that's cool. I'll take a look.
yeah.
I'll take a CRDT, right?
Yes, yeah, that stands for conflict-free replicated data type.
Oh,
Yeah, and just like a data type, just like a linked list. Yeah, it's a specification for how to manage data, and so it's not like an in-memory object kind of an implementation of the data type. It's really that specification, so that it can be implemented on many different nodes. But the really cool thing is that an instance of a CRDT on one node will converge to the same state as an instance on a different node after they have after they've exchanged all of the updates. So it's got a very formal definition of eventual consistency. In fact, one that's called strong eventual consistency.
oh, got it.
Yeah, so I think that's gonna you fit in pretty well with the kind of research that you're doing.
Yeah, thanks.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I've studied other things like luxury algorithms lately. Um, but yeah, luxury algorithms still use locks.
You said Flux. Um, I'm afraid I'm not familiar. Or did you, logs?
Sorry, my internet connection is
Oh, okay.
a little bit bad. Yeah,
Hmm.
can you repeat again?
Yeah. Did you say Flux or logs? I didn't catch that.
Oh, I said luxury algorithms.
Oh, lock-free algorithms. Right. Yes. Um,
Mm.
yeah. Yeah. In fact, yeah. So when Tim Berners-Lee was on stage, he was talking about one of the course correction that he wants to make is to separate data from applications, so that the people who run the applications, like Facebook, for example, don't all automatically own the data. Um, and the way that that he and a team at MIT are working on this is a new protocol called Solid. And I did actually get a chance to take a look at the Solid um, protocol, and uh, um, and it does have a couple of features that are that are different from what we're trying to accomplish here. One, it is location specific, so the identity of an object in Solid is a URL, so it's RESTful in that respect, um, and so that identifies a location. And then the second is that it uses optimistic locking. So it doesn't take the kind of hard lock that you're talking about, where you really want it to be lock free, but it does do optimistic in that you've read, you make some changes, and now you want to write back. It's going to compare the version that you read with what you're trying to write, what's currently there. So
Oh,
so yeah, in your studies, um, yeah, uh, are you kind of uh, looking at the hard locks, like, I've got this lock, nobody can touch this, versus the optimistic locks?
um, I haven't studied in a so deep, but I think the things I was reading lately was about the hard luck you
Hmm.
mentioned. Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm curious how the big companies like Google, Facebook, Amazon, how they do this kind of like dealing with shared resources problem. How
Yeah.
do they solve this kind of problem?
Yeah, it's it's one that I've seen them struggle with over and over again, and so yeah, some of them have come up with bespoke databases specifically to solve this problem, and then they will usually then try to make those databases available. DynamoDB is one that comes to mind that Google created, and they were using that internally. It's based on some mathematics that the papers were already published. You could read how that all works,
Okay.
the idea there, if I remember, is you've got multiple versions of an object, and then so it's actually kind of similar, Jan, to what you and I were talking about with Postgres, or with not Postgres, but SQLite, where you've got the write ahead logs, and you've got different pointers to objects in there. But I think with DynamoDB, you had multiple versions, so you could have multiple writes going on at the same time, and the writes were serialized within a particular object, and then at the time of reading, you were looking at a specific version. But yeah, I don't recall the exact details of it, but yeah, that's one of the things that's that the big companies have been doing is okay. We know that the traditional CRUD single source of truth type of thing doesn't scale across many different data centers in many different regions. So so they've been coming up with different ways to try to answer that problem. I think that a lot of times the solution they come up with is really inspired by the problem that they're trying to solve, and then they try to generalize it a little bit. At least that's kind of the read I'm getting when I take a look at some of these solutions.
Oh,
Some- and sometimes it only works a little bit.
Yeah.
Remember our sharing moments in Visual Studio Code?
Yep.
Yeah, screen sharing was going wrong. Consistency was not really.
Yeah. Yeah, it got the eventual part. So it's like I'm typing. I don't see what you're typing. Oh, well, let's try to figure it out. And then finally the text comes in, but it's in the wrong place in the document. So it's eventual. It's just not consistent.
Yeah. These problems are not easy to solve, and I think that's where historical modeling comes in, with a very good, robust, mathematically sound solution.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the one of the most important features of historical modeling is that the mathematics tell you when it's not going to work. So so if you take a look at your problem using these tools, then you can say, well, I can't solve this part of my problem with those tools. One example that always comes up is knowing that something has happened once and only once. So if somebody has reserved a conference room for a particular time, knowing that somebody else hasn't reserved that same room for that same time. And if you try to model that historically and then write a query and expect to get just one result out of that query, it's not going to give you just one result. It's going to give you many. And so if there's only one answer in a particular case, you're fine. But if you get more than one, okay, a conflict has happened, or since it is technically conflict-free, a concurrent operation has happened. But the advantage there is now right there at the beginning, right there at the analysis stage, you know what's going to work and what's not, and where you need to switch to a different solution. So yeah, I like to use centralized lock-based solutions for specific decisions, specific features of the application, and then you're exchanging intent historically, and then the intent makes its way to one centralized place that makes that decision, using a locking database, and then it broadcasts out the results along uh, those same immutable historical pathways.
Yeah, but recently I've studied that um, the Raft algorithm, which is the consensus algorithms, have been used more and more to synchronize all the information across the servers. But as I know, Raft is a little bit centralized algorithm because they elect leader frequently.
Mm, yeah.
So the trend is that the centralized solution is used more, or is that just only the consensus algorithm?
Yeah, I think if you kind of divide the space into like you were talking about Google and Amazon and so large scale. There you've got companies that are really dealing with the problem and trying to find creative solutions. And then if you go down to the enterprise, uh, so yeah, enterprises still get pretty big, but they are not quite as big as Google or Amazon. They're not taking their data centers and opening them out to the world. Um, so so what I've observed is that within the enterprise, um, people tend to go with the centralized solutions and even maybe not even adopt some of these more interesting consensus-based solutions, but it's like, yeah, no, that's complexity. That's something that will break, that somebody has to understand in order to keep it running. Yeah, let's just go with a simple centralized database, but we just have a lot of them. So here's our centralized database for our CRM. Here's our centralized database for our product catalog, um, and then connect those with usually with RESTful APIs. That seems to be, even though there are messages and there's Kafka out there and there's it still seems
Oh,
to be that's the extra stretch that enterprises will make, and they'll just kind of default back um, to centralized data, and it seems to solve their problem, and so they just move forward with that. So yeah, um, I think that the problem in general is not something that a lot of companies are feeling enough pain from in order to really invest in solving the problem, and so we're just kind of living with with the eventual the little flare ups of like, oh, we lost some data over here, oh, this thing is there was a conflict over here, and then people rush in and try to resolve. So yeah, it could be a much better picture than it currently is, I think.
yeah. My dream is that to create a medium or small scale distributed system or a service framework for the small scale company or organization to host their services or data for themselves.
Hmm.
So we don't get controlled by those big companies.
Yeah.
But the distributed world is a little bit chaos and not so well studied because as you mentioned, the big companies don't care so much about these kind of solutions.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's why I study on these topics, and
Nice.
yeah, that's why I'm interested in the immutable architecture.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Cool. Yeah, that's the world that I would love to build. Um, Yeah, and in fact, that's the world that Tim Berners-Lee was talking about when. Solidproject.org is where you can find information on the project that he's working on now, um, and uh, and so yeah, he's saying, yeah, the big companies that host our data own our data, and they control access to it, and and it really should be that we have access to it. The the kind of the problem that led to that situation is the fact that that data access is done through through very application specific and bespoke interfaces. So if you stand up SQL Server in your data center, there's a certain way that you talk to SQL Server, and you have to have you have to set up security. You have to authenticate to SQL Server in order to talk to it, and it's you install into SQL Server an application-specific schema. So now, as you roll out new versions of the application, you also roll out updates to the schema. You evolve the schema over time. So the data is really coupled to the application in the network, in security, in the schema. It's just one silo, one unit, and that's the kind of the technology problem that led to where we are. But then, if you also think about it, there are the incentives that keep us where we are, and Facebook doesn't really want you to have access to your data. They benefit more when they control it. So yeah, there's both of those things to fight at the same time, and yeah, I think one way to fight the technology, the way that the Solid project is doing that is let's have a common protocol that is application agnostic, and then now the data could be hosted anywhere, and then you control the security and give access to the application.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So that is a really cool idea. In fact, that's the part of the idea that I would like to steal. The challenge that I see is that the incentives are still there. How are they going to get? In fact, there was a person from Microsoft in the audience, and she stood up and asked a question that if you kind of listen to the question behind the question, it was pretty much, what is Microsoft's incentive to participate in this in this exchange? And it's not really there. I mean, yeah, I think Microsoft does a good job with being open about how they are using their customers' data, but they're very developer focused, and they are responsibly giving control of your data to other developers. So Microsoft Graph is a really great example. It's like, here, come to Microsoft,
really?
set up a graph, which is basically like Active Directory plus information about the people and the objects that are in the directory, and it's all hosted in Azure. So come to Microsoft Graph with your application, and then the user will give you access to their graph data. So it's like they're doing a little bit of that separation of data from application with those kinds of APIs, but it's still hosted in Azure. It's still the Microsoft Graph.
Yeah.
But yeah, then the other aspect of applying distributed systems thinking to this problem is the problem of now synchronization. Moving that data from one node to the other. In the Solid project, they're called pods. So the idea is that that you as an individual can set up a pod. I think it's just like a Docker image. I didn't click on that link to see exactly how to deploy your own pod, but it seems like it's like that kind of thing. Or you can go to your ISP, and when you sign up for your ISP, maybe they'll provide all of their customers a pod. Set one up for your family, for your employees in an organization, maybe even, and this is actually where they're starting, maybe even governments creating pods for each of their citizens. So yeah, that look. Yeah. So the idea is that now when you use an application, you say, hey, application, here's the ID of my pod. So it's basically a URL, so it tells you where that pod is, and then here's a token so that you can access the pod in this particular way, and then share that information with other people using the same application or even different applications, and they can kind of all integrate through the pod. But the problem that I see is that the pod is still location specific. I haven't seen a way in the protocol to say, you know what, I'm going to take all of the stuff that I had originally set up in my own personal pod, and I'm going to move that to my employer's pod, or from one to the other. So I don't see that built into the protocol, and then given the fact that it does use optimistic concurrency, you can't really do that kind of synchronization with optimistic concurrency because things are going to be out of sync for a longer period of time. And then as soon as you make a change in two pods, then they will say, nope, I see a concurrent change, I'm going to reject. So yeah, there's a lot of aspects to the problem.
Michael, how will that stop? For example, imagine your data is in your own pod, and you grant Facebook access to certain data in that pod because you want to be on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
But so throughout the years, you give access, you add things, Facebook gets every time access to the data. What stops them from storing the data in their database like they do it today?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think there is anything that stops them from doing that. And if I think about the intended use of pods, I think really the only thing is that they would store the data they have access to now, and you can give them limited time access. So yeah, I'm going to continue and work with this data. So I'm going to make new modifications. I'm going to record new facts, but this was the time limit, and so you can't have access to those new facts anymore. So you have stale data. I think that's really all that there is that could be done.
It's perhaps more a matter of laws and juridic limitations.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you want them to process your data, they can store the data as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One of the examples that he gave, there was a question about so it sounds like pods will give people the opportunity to sell their data. So the problem of the application developers are selling our data, and it's they're in the terms of service. If you scroll down far enough, you can say, "Yep, we're going to sell this to third parties."
Yeah.
And so one of the ideas that's kind of going around is, well, the individual should be able to profit from that. So let's allow that to happen, but you get your cut. And so Tim Berners-Lee's answer to that is that as an individual, you really you're really not after that money. That's probably not going to be a significant amount of money because it has to be a large data set for it to be of value, and then you divide that by everybody that's in it. You're talking about pennies. But what you're really after when you give somebody data is you're after a common benefit. So I'm going to, the example that he gave is buying a vacation. So I want to give you the history of all the vacations that I've taken and my ratings of different restaurants and experiences, so that you can then search for the vacation that's best for me. And so I get a benefit because I get to go on an awesome vacation. You get a benefit because you get to sell me one. And so everybody's happy there, and there hasn't been an exchange of money for the data, but there's been an exchange of value. And so I think that's a pretty compelling argument, except for the fact that what you bring up, that once they have used your data for that purpose, what keeps them from persisting that data and using it later?
Isn't that what we are doing today? We say to Facebook, look, here you have my data, and in return I can use your Facebook application for free.
Yeah.
The only thing, we know that they will sell it. they even write it down. So
Yeah.
we cannot say they do something illegal. We agree to it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just change the words to sound like something that benefits us. Yeah, we will use your data to optimize your experience and to target your advertising. That's the same thing.
I mean, that's the problems with computers.
Yeah.
If today, if you log into your Microsoft account, it's scaring to see, oh, that I received that mail, that document I was working on. And I say, how do they know?
Yeah.
Um, some
Yep.
things, of course, they know because it comes through the mailbox, but some other things.
Yep. Yep. Now it's integrated right into the Windows startup. You just hit that. Oh, okay. Here's all of the stuff that you've been working on all of your machines.
Yeah, and every couple of days I get a mail. You had a lot of quiet days. You have been lazy. Oh, they,
Yes. Remember that cruise that you sold me? I was on that. You should know that already.
no, they put it a little bit more nice.
Yeah.
You could concentrate yourself. They put it, but
Oh yeah, yeah. Would you like to schedule some time for concentration? And it's like, yeah, because my calendar is usually completely packed, and then I have one day. It's usually on Friday. That's like I get to do some work done. Get some work done, and then yeah. Used to be called Cortana, but now it's they've got some more bland name for it. But yeah, the suggestion is like, hey, do you want to schedule 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock for your personal times? I'll just take it all, thank you.
yeah,
Very cool.
yeah, we will see. At the time, who could imagine that the internet would be so important today?
Yeah.
So today he comes again with some new ideas, and we say, that's the same what we are doing. But in 5 or 10 years' time, we will see, oh, he was right, and it changes completely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's amazing that he came up with these things, and that the impact was much more important than what
Yeah.
most people thought of.
Mm-hmm.
But okay.
Yeah. So, what have you been working on for the last few weeks?
I'm going to do something that Michael did, and it cannot be so difficult. So I need your help again. Remember last time I was setting up the Postgres SQL with the database scripts, these bash scripts, where we say, okay, we will just split them up in a user role and definition of the database. Then, I installed Postgres on Windows. I installed Node on Windows, everything on Windows, because this WSL was never really my thing.
Yeah.
So I wanted to keep it simple. Of course, these bash shells, now I get into trouble. So if Michael can do it, I can do it as well. WSL2, I already installed it before, but I never worked with it. And then, okay, it's working, except I'm having trouble with JIT-K, so the graphical user interface. The extension in VS Code under Windows, Node under Linux, NPM under Linux, and the source code, Jinaga.js, and the shared list also on the Linux disk. So why don't I show you? That will be easier. So I made a new virtual machine, which with the original name, very original name, test. Oh, that's made it a little bit smaller. Share the screen. Where is it? Yeah, that's the one. Is that readable, or should it still be smaller?
It is, yeah, it is readable.
Yeah, readable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first problem. I have here just an Ubuntu terminal.
Mm-hmm.
So I made an alias for gitk. So gitk is pointing back to the Windows. So it's the mounted C drive.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So if I say gitk all, he must be sleeping. Yeah. No, he wakes up. Look, this one, local uncommitted changes.
Yeah, and it's going to be every file, and it's
Yeah.
going to be the line endings, right?
The line endings, and especially also security rights.
Ah.
Look,
Ah.
old mode,
Okay.
new mode.
Hmm.
So there is a parameter for core.file mode is true or is false in Git. But the thing it is default false in Windows and default true in Ubuntu.
Ah. Yeah.
Now, if I go to my Visual Studio here, let's imagine that I would change something here. Save that. I go to my Git here. Yeah, so I have a change. I go here. Let's make this one a little bit bigger. So this one is only giving that one change. That means this version of Git viewer is working correctly.
Yeah, and it's really only working correctly because it's running inside of WSL. So yeah, you can see
it's
the
an
little
extension that runs on the remote. If you go and look here for the extensions, so Git graph is installed on Ubuntu. While if I do gitk, it's an alias that goes to the Windows drive. So it runs on Windows and it gets its data from the Linux drive.
Right, which it thinks is just the Windows drive because it's mounted in Linux.
Yeah. Now, then I read that WSL2 would support GUIs, but the next thing I read was only in Windows 11, and this virtual machine is Windows 10. So it has been implemented. It seems to work. I didn't try it out on a virtual machine with Windows 11, but so you need to install some additional video drivers. And then it seems to work from what I read on the internet. But so I don't know. Have you tried gitk on your side, and did you manage to?
I have not. So I tend to use I tend to use Visual Studio for a lot of things, and then also some Git command line aliases, so that I can visualize the graph better in the command line. But yeah, I've stopped using gitk for my Windows apps because now I use Tower. It's a paid-for product, but I think it gives you a better control and better visualization over your history. But then Tower doesn't work with WSL. So in WSL, first of all, I don't work on the mounted C drive. I just work strictly in the WSL home directory, and then yeah, I use Visual Studio and a command line alias.
So. What I could try if I start up. Wait. Yeah, this is the opposite way. Yeah, that's in Windows. That one. Wait, Jinaga.js. If we do it the other way around, so if I just take a command prompt here. Use a cd dev. No, where was it? cd documents, cd dev, cd historical modeling, ginaga.js. No. Oh, no, he's not here. Doesn't matter. Git k. No. Does it? If I say all, he will. But then I have to be. Right? Has it? No, cannot find a repository. Does it has a command line? Do you know by heart? Help. No.
Yeah, I'm afraid I don't, because it's
I
a tool I stopped using a little while back.
No. What I wanted to do is just give it run it in Windows and give it the path, the Ubuntu drive mounted in Windows. Like it is here, WSL, $Ubuntu, and so on.
Yeah. Can you cd to that directory within Windows?
This is the Windows Explorer. So in the Windows Explorer, you can access it.
So in the command line, can you cd space and then paste that URL in? Does that work?
I don't think no, because it doesn't accept network shares there.
Yeah.
Perhaps what I could do, is it? Net use C double point. Was it like that? No, network name cannot be found. I cannot redirect it. Let's see.
Can PowerShell do that, though?
That might be. Just take it. This one. Yeah. Yes, that does work. So now git k minus.
Yeah, it's progress. I'm guessing we'll see the same thing, though.
Same thing.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. But you start it like that or the other way around. Now, one thing I could still try, if I get this one. So now I'm in Windows. Git config list show origin. And it's no, it's one of these core. Why is it not in there? No. It's not in there because I have no repository here. Because he sets a default in Windows of false the moment it's on the local level. So what I could do in Ubuntu, it's true. So if I would do git config and it is core.file mode, git config global file mode true. Let's try that one. And I should have the PowerShell is still there. So git k.
Yeah, you're back in your home directory now.
Yeah. cd, was it that one? Yeah. Git k minus o. No. So not. Let's try the opposite here. false. Yeah, you see here is false.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so did he accept that here? Git config list show double, yeah, show origin core file mode is true, yeah. It does know this value.
Okay. Well, it showed that there were local changes. It might be that there are still local changes in line endings. But
Let's see, modified. No, all the shells.
okay.
It's in red here.
Yeah.
So it's probably about
Yeah, the execute
yeah,
flag on the shell file. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, I will. I think I will just use the built-in Git viewer then, because that one is working fine. That was one problem. Then the next one.
And by the way, I did paste the Git aliases that I like to use, and among those is a set of aliases that show you a tree while you're in the command line. So you can
Wait,
do.
did you publish them somewhere?
I put them in the general channel.
Discord channel, yeah.
Yeah.
I will have a look at that. The second thing is npm link. Remember, so you have
yeah.
shared list here.
Yeah.
On one hand, and then I have my which one is it? This one. This is Jinaga on the right hand side. Let me undo this change, or nothing will work. Okay. So in this one, so in Jinaga I did npm link. And if I do here, and what's happening here? Npm link Jinaga. Jinaga is the name of the project on the right hand side. Then he starts thinking, and then he will say, cannot find it. So that works perfectly. What is he saying here? He's still searching. What did he say here? npm link.
Yeah, it looks like it did something.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you hit refresh on the Git window and see if it made a change to
Or was it
JSON?
A refresh on the?
Yeah, so you've got your source control window. There's a refresh button. That's the third button up there. Yeah, go ahead and open that again. Yeah, hit refresh there just to see if there's a change that it detected. Nope. Yeah, I was checking to see if it changed to package.json and package.json.
Was it? Yeah, it was npm link Jinaga. Try it again. No, here. Okay, here it goes.
Is that an E at the end? Was that a misspelling?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Don't tell me that was a problem. I tried so many times. It seems to be working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, npm. No, it's not. What was it after that?
npm run build.
npm run build. because I tried initially, I thought it was Jinaga.js, and that didn't work. And then I tried other things and capitals. And in the end, I looked up my documentation. I said, oh, it was Jinaga. And I tried many times, but probably just going back to the previous one. Okay, that would explain why it didn't work. Let's see. So far, so good. All right. And so if now let's npm start, that seems to be working. And then let's try if we go to debug. Yeah, I don't have breakpoints yet here. Wait, where do I have to set my breakpoints? It was in the...
Yeah, I think if you set a breakpoint there and then step in, then you'll be inside of the Jinaga code and you can see if you can set a breakpoint.
And then I had to set breakpoints in Jinaga here, I think, yeah? Sit here, Jinaga, source. Where was it last time?
So Jinaga server might be a good place to start, because that would be the very first thing that it hits. So yeah, you can put a breakpoint inside of create.
Wait, in the create here, is he getting through that?
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, you should see a call to create as it's starting up.
Let's try. Okay, I see my 2 breakpoints here. Probably.
Okay, so the first one is in your code.
Yeah, he stops there. That's good. And then we continue. And he stops there.
Okay, excellent.
So the only problem was an E instead of an A. Great.
Yeah.
Great. So that's the advantage of automatic recall the old comments. You keep doing it wrong. Okay, this is very good. Very good. And then I had a third problem. So now I have SQL, the Postgres installed on Ubuntu. I can access it from Ubuntu, but if I want to run pgadmin and tell me that pgadmin is a GUID, so I run it inside Windows. Then as far as I read the WSL, it's a virtual machine, but it's considered as local host as well. So Microsoft is doing remapping of the local host on the Windows share to the Ubuntu share.
Okay.
But for one or the other reason, and I'm really not Postgres, I don't really know about the security. Apparently, you could set in the config file an external IP address.
Oh, okay.
But since it is local host, it should work. So here I want to add a server. Wait, just let me add a new one. Remove. We start from scratch. So I say a new server, name test. Then for the connection, so host name or local host, it's the same problem. I enter here my password. So it was the user Postgres and the password for Postgres. Then I do save. Internal server error, unable to connect to the server. But he also says authentication failed for the user.
Yeah. Okay, so it wasn't like there's nothing listening at this port, so it is able to make the network connection. It is an authentication.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
Because the password is correct, the user is correct, unless I type something else wrong.
Yeah. So inside of your WSL, you should be able to find a PostgreSQL.conf file. And it's the document I'm looking at here says that it's under etc PostgreSQL.
CD. No, it's not like that. CD. Is it like?
Yeah, the other slash forward slash. And then CD etc.
etc. And here, is it the dep config or is
there should be a folder called PostgreSQL in here.
Here, yeah. CD PostgreSQL.
Yep, and now we've got version numbers in here.
That's 1, 2. In blue, I can.
Yeah, it is hard to see.
Yeah. CD 12. No, that's not gonna work. CD space 12. CD main. And here we have PG CTL config. Is it that one?
Yes, that's the one.
Okay, so then it's CPG config. Okay.
And it says
and what
it doesn't have a listen address is the option that we're looking for, and I thought that it would have a default of listen address equal quote localhost, but what they say to change it to is listen address equal star. So that's so if you open up an editor on this one.
PG CTL. Okay, how was that? Yes. What was it as?
So it's listen underscore addresses. It's plural.
Addresses equal to
equal, and then within single quotes we put a star.
Like that.
Yes.
Okay, then it was escape. No.
Yeah, it should be
control. What was it in Vim?
Should be escape WQ enter. Because escape should get you, or no, I'm sorry, colon.
Colon.
Yeah,
Q.
then WQ.
And not
W
right?
first.
Yeah, you need W first, so W
WQ,
and then Q. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Read only optimism.
You don't have permission to write that file.
Okay, so to overwrite.
Yeah, so you need to do a Q.
W.
Yeah, you need to do
Q like this.
Yeah, let's try that. It probably, it won't. Right. So
you might need to do it again with permission.
So if you do sudo and then vim.
Wait. Okay. But I so escape WQ like this. No, I even cannot get out of it.
Yeah. So you need the Q bang in order to.
WQ bang.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Sudo vim pg control. The advantage of trying this is that I learned a little bit of Linux.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was it?
So that was listen underscore addresses.
Listen underscore addresses equal to.
And then single quote, star, single quote.
Like this, huh?
I think so. Yeah, it turned blue, so it's hard to see.
Escape double right Q.
Hey.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get
So
pg
that's
console.config. Let's see. Yes, it's
Yeah.
all right.
So that's part of it. That might not have completely solved the problem. There might be one more thing to do.
So, yeah.
But in order to test that and see if that did it, we can do a
Restart
Yeah,
the
we wanna-
Postgres service.
yeah.
Right.
System
And how
control
was that?
restart PostgreSQL. So this is probably sudo systemctl then systemctl and then space restart and space PostgreSQL.
SQL, like this?
Yeah.
No, wait, I wrote that somewhere down.
Yeah, you might be on a different OS.
So Postgres sudo service Postgres stop.
Okay.
Sudo service PostgreSQL stop. Okay, and then start again. And I can see easy status is online, port 543.
Yeah, so let's try the connection again, and it still might fail.
I have to change it, or he doesn't believe. I want to try. No, he fails.
Okay, so then the next file that we need to edit is in the same folder. It's pg_hba conf.
pg_hba dot config.
.conf, yeah. Yep.
Permission denied. Okay.
Okay. You can't even read this one. Sudo make me a sandwich. All right.
Oh, and this is all blue.
Oh, goodness.
How can you change the color?
That is a good question.
Properties? Any colors?
Well, you can change the background color, and then maybe you'd be able to see the blue text on it.
Do I change pop screen background? Make it white?
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
Oh, yeah.
Michael has for everything a solution.
My solution is to install Vim theme.
How is it? What is it called?
There are several themes for Vim. You just Google theme in Vim. You can get a tons of theme for Vim.
Okay, so it's a theme that you load into Vim then, into Vim.
Yeah, load as a plugin.
Okay, I will look that up and see how that works. So these are all.
Yeah. So the comments here are talking about the format for this file, and the lines that we're interested in. Let's see. Doesn't look like. Let's see the type that we're looking for is host, and I see local. Yeah, so let's scroll down and see if there's some.
No, there is nothing more. This is.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
Oh, strange.
This sometimes happens.
Yeah, there we go again.
Yeah.
Let's share that again.
Yeah, it's saying it's 9 o'clock.
Oh yeah, it's time already. What
Or
was it that we tried
1400
to
UTC.
change, Michael? Here.
Yes. So I will. So there should be some files that are. Yeah, there we go. So we've got
Here.
local. Okay, actually, so we want one that says host. So there's a host. Yeah, see where it says IPv6.
Yeah.
Right, no, IPv4. You're right.
Uh,
Yeah. So if we change that to, instead of that IP address for localhost, you change that to 0.0.0.0/0. So that will match all IP addresses.
okay.
Yeah.
Why can I not?
Yeah, see. Yeah, it looks like you're in overwrite mode instead of insert. So if you hit escape and then I, then you'll be in insert mode.
0.
Okay, there you go.
Subnet mask 0 also?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And then a couple of spaces to get the MD5 back where it belongs. And then they also recommend adding one more line, which is very similar to that first one, except it's just a :0. Which I wonder if that's an IPv6 version of it.
Probably. Colon or just one colon?
Just one colon. So yeah, looks kind of strange.
Okay, so it's the same as what we.
Yep, everything else is the same.
He doesn't want to do Control V, Control C. So let's type it.
Yeah.
So here colon,
and then /, and then 0.
0 and
then MD5. Yes.
Okay, so that should be all right.
I think so.
Yeah. So then
escape
double right
Q
and
no bang.
Sorry?
Yeah.
you
got lucky with the bang there. Yeah, so he was saying no bang. Because if it was not able to write, then it would have still exited. But yeah, go ahead and do the cat on that file and make sure that it actually has saved your changes.
Wait, I can just.
Yeah, you still need the sudo because this one is read protected. Okay.
Yeah,
yep, there we go. All right, so let's do the restart and see if it fixed our problem.
Stop. Start. Oh. Same. Invalid connection type. I did. Apparently, I typed something wrong then.
Yeah, I see.
No. Host. No, yeah. That one. Should be OS. What is happening here?
Yeah, so you are in navigation mode, so if you hit
insert.
Yeah, insert mode.
You see, I'm still not used to it. So escape, colon, right, and Q. Huh?
Yeah, and don't use the bang this time.
Okay.
Yep.
So now, if we had started, could not start, could not load. Why not? Starting, listening. Line 97 of configuration, fatal.
Yeah, so it says you can't specify both of those lines. Okay, that's strange that this document says to put them both in there. So, so yeah, I would go ahead and take that second one out. Yeah. Or maybe just put a comment in front of it.
Insert
Yeah.
this. No, right. Yeah. I'm not a Linux guy. Huh? Yes, we are getting there. Start. Yeah, that
Okay.
worked. So now change this again. Change it. 1. Yeah. Save.
And roll the dice. And fail.
Still the same. But I'm taking
Well.
too much of your time now, Michael. It's 9 o'clock. You have to start working.
Yes, indeed.
No, what I will do, I will
Yeah.
continue to search myself. I will have a look further into the configuration and see where that gets us. Already the what was it? The npm link is solved, and that one I would not have found myself really.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I think. Yeah, I was thinking to network. I think actually what you'll find is the username in Postgres also has a host name as part of it, and so it looks like it's assuming.
And it's taking the host name from Windows and passing that to Ubuntu.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think if you're explicit about saying localhost for the host name, that might be where the answer lies.
Just make here.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yes. No.
So failed, refused.
Okay. Well,
It's
a different error message.
Now we really refused the connection. Well, just now it was less severe. I don't know. You see?
Okay. Well, it's somewhere along there. Maybe it's like the username is Postgres at localhost, even though the host name is.
Did you use pgadmin to connect from Windows to?
I did. The difference is that I'm using Docker, so it's got a different configuration. Yeah, let me try one last thing before we go. I'll go into pgadmin, and I'll take a look at the connection tab for mine and see if I've got something different there for the host name and the username.
Because this name is just the name of this registration, I think. Eh?
I think so, yeah.
Sorry.
Sure. And it's taking a long time to load up. And yeah, something is. Oh, I probably shut down. Yeah, probably shut down my Postgres server. So I need to start Docker and then start the container. Oh, and of course it's going to update Docker Desktop. So yeah, this is not going to be a fast operation.
Yeah, IT. If it works, it's great. It continues to work, and at that moment you don't have to do a lot of things. But before it works, sometimes.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, and actually that kind of reminds me of one of the other concerns that I have with this this concept of let's give the the power back to the user, so they can manage their own data. Well, now they have to know how to manage their own data. That's something that individuals are, as we've seen, not terribly good at yet. So it's got to be. We have to come up with a way to make it just really easy and obvious that, hey, you're about to give somebody access to some data. Are you sure this is what you want to do? And make it more than the "Are you sure?" because people just say, yes, I want to plan my party. So yeah, I'm going to give access to this pod to that party app. So yeah, there definitely needs to be some better education there. Plus, if a user can't create their own apps, then how are they going to find an app that does exactly what they want? So this is kind of getting back to the vision that I shared before about a person with the skill set to create an Excel spreadsheet should have the necessary skills to create an application. So, and we're certainly not there. Okay, so I finally have a Postgres Docker container running. pgadmin. Still having a hard
I
time
haven't
loading.
touched Windows for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I've switched to full Linux development environment, also a daily driver for nearly 4 years, so I cannot provide some insight on how to operate on both Windows and Linux.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of a new thing to try. Okay, so pgadmin is still not coming up for me. So the one thing that I would say, let's go ahead and try, is in the username field, put an @localhost after Postgres.
At localhost, like this.
Yeah, and this is the last ditch effort there.
And if we
Yeah. Okay.
I will look further and I hope to tell you next week what the problem was. Michael, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And
eating 555 or was eating your real name or?
No. It's a random ID I make up when I register an account.
How do we call you?
My English name is Caden, and the full name is Zhi Wei Jian. I might need to type it down.
No, but your first name was Caden?
Wait a minute.
But yeah, you're typing it down in the.
Yeah. It's my Chinese name.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can call me call me Caden. Sorry.
Caden. Okay, Caden.
Yeah.
Very good to meet you, Caden.
Okay, Caden. Hope to see you next week again.
Sure.
Okay.
And good luck in in your studies. All right. Good to see you, Jan.
Michael, thank you very much. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.